Hello everyone and welcome to the playthrough video of Bigfootses the card game. I'm going to walk you through a couple of turns and introduce you to the cards and teach you how to catch Bigfootses. So when you start the game, the first thing that you'll do is you'll separate the cards into two decks, the Woods deck and the Thingies deck. The Woods deck are cards that you'll encounter face up, so everybody will see every Woods card that you draw. And the Thingies cards are cards that you'll keep in your hand, so those will be secrets and you can expose them when the time is right. So when you begin the game, the first thing every player will do is draw three Thingies cards. As you can see, I have an equipment card here. That's the Bigfootses Elite Guard, and what he does is you can put him down and he will guard your corral so that other players cannot steal from your corral. They can't mess with your Bigfootses that are in there. Also, any event cards that say the Bigfootses escape or get abducted by aliens or things like that, he'll protect you, so that's a good card. The other thing that I've drawn here is a modifier. As you can see, this is the Macho modifier, and it has a +2. So what we can do with this card is, say we draw here the big buff Bigfootses, and his evasiveness is a power of 10. I can play this card on him to make him a macho buff Bigfootses and turn his power into 12. I wouldn't want to do that if I were encountering him, because I would want the evasiveness score to be as low as possible, but I could play this card when other people are encountering Bigfootses and make it a little bit harder to catch. The third type of card that I've drawn is an item card, and item cards you play one time and they go away after you play them. This one is a GPS tracking tag, and how that would work is, say I was encountering the buff Bigfoot here and there was no hope at all that I could capture, and what I could do is I could apply my GPS tracking tag to him and then set him over here to the side, and when I became powerful enough to encounter him, I would go ahead and encounter him at that time. But I digress. These cards are going to go back in my hand because I haven't really encountered the buff Bigfoot, and I'm going to draw my first card. The card that I've drawn is a normal Bigfoot, and as you can see, he's a lot easier to catch than the buff Bigfoot. I only need to beat a score of a 3. How you calculate your skill score is every Bigfoot that you've already caught that's in your corral gives you a +1 to your skill. There are also other equipment cards, for example the tranquilizer gun or the binoculars, that can add to your skill as well. As you can see, the binoculars here just gives you a +1 to skill, and it also gives you some additional bonuses if you can combine them with the map or the compass. The tranquilizer gun gives you a nice +2 or a +5 if you are the hunter profession, and we'll get into professions here in a little bit. But let's pretend that I go ahead and have this tranquilizer gun equipped. So now I have the tranquilizer gun and the Royal Guard. So that gives me a +2, and I need to get a 3. If you're familiar with the rules of Munchkin, Bigfootses plays very similar to Munchkin, except that you roll dice. When you roll a dice, you add that to your skill and try to beat the Bigfootses' evasiveness, or if you're fighting a creature, you try to beat its power. So you'd roll the dice, and whatever you rolled, you would add that to your skill. And if that's over the evasiveness, then you capture the Bigfootses. And you put him over here in your corral and go on to your next turn. The one thing about rolling the dice is if you ever roll a 1, then you automatically lose the capture. Even if your skill is 20 and you're trying to capture a Bigfootses that's only 3, you would still lose. And the exact opposite is true also, that if you're ever trying to capture a Bigfootses and you can't possibly make the roll, if you roll a 6, which in all of our Bigfootses dice, a 6 is represented by the Bigfootses head, then you would automatically make the capture. So, let's go on to some other types of cards that we can encounter. As you can see, there's lots of them in here. Here is a profession. Here is a profession card. There are 6 standard professions in the game, as well as some that can be unlocked through stretch goals. This is the hunter. What the hunter's special abilities are is he can do a task, and when your turn starts, you have the option of doing a task on your profession, or drawing a woods card, which we call exploring, or drawing thingies cards, which we call rummaging. So if you have a profession card, you have three options for your turn. The hunter's task is to discard a card from your hand and take any card from the thingy's discard pile. And then he has three passive abilities, and the passive abilities are always in play. He has a +2 on his skill for all captures, and he can also have up to 5 equipment cards in play instead of the standard 3. He also automatically wins a battle against any creature. So if you can be the hunter card, then you would go ahead and put the hunter here. And let me adjust this. So you could be the hunter, you could have your equipment cards here in front of you, and then have your corral off here to the right. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and take another turn here, and since I don't have any cards in my hand, I'm going to elect to rummage. Now, if you remember, the three things that you can do on your turn is you can do a profession task, you can explore, which is draw a woods card, or you can rummage. Rummage is drawing cards from the thingies deck, and you use this chart here in the rule book based on how many Bigfootses you have in your corral. And you add up the total victory points of all the Bigfootses, and in this case I just have the one, and the victory points are the silhouettes down here at the bottom. As you can see, the more powerful Bigfoot is worth 2 victory points, and this guy is worth 1. So I just have 1 victory points worth of Bigfootses in my corral. I use this chart, and it says between 0 and 2 you draw 3 thingies cards. So I'm going to go ahead and rummage by drawing 3 thingies cards. Again, I have another modifier. This will make the monster, the Bigfootses, the mother of all. I have a net, which is a handy equipment item. And then I also have an action card. Now, action cards you play on other players or any time that you want. This one says, it's not me, it's you. What this lets you do is if you draw an event card that you don't want to encounter, you can play this action card on that event and then pick another player and they'll have to encounter that event as well. Okay, so we're going to take another turn here and draw a woods card, which is called exploring in game terms. As we explore, we found something cool. If you can read this card, there's 2 possible things that can happen. One is indicative of good luck and the other one bad luck. Now, you can determine whether you have good luck or bad luck by rolling a d6 against how many victory points of all the Bigfootses that you have in your corral. So in this case, I only have a 1, which means I have to roll a d6 and roll above a 1. Similar to the creature battles and Bigfootses captures, anytime you roll a 1, you get bad luck. Anytime you roll a 6, you get good luck. So I will roll, and it looks like I rolled a 3. So that means I get good luck, which in this case is draw 2 thingies cards. Now, bad luck is still draw 1 thingies card, so bad luck isn't always a negative action. It's just not as good as the good luck action. So I will discard that card and draw my 2 thingies cards. Looks like I've drawn 2 equipment. Okay, we're going to go ahead and take another turn now. I'm going to explore into the woods, and I find the Bigfootses footprint. What this says is I'm hot on the trail, and I can take the topmost Bigfootses out of the discard pile and encounter it with a +3 to my skill. So I take the top one here, and this is the albino Bigfoot with a evasiveness of 7. Now I add up all of my modifiers. I have a +2 modifier for being the hunter, a +1 because I have the net, and a +1 corral bonus because I have 1 Bigfootses in my corral. So that's a 2, 3, 4. And then I get a +3 because of the footprint, which gives me a total of 7. Now the evasiveness here is also a 7, and since I need to beat or tie this evasiveness, I really need to roll anything but a 1, because on a 1, regardless of how badly you beat the creature on your numeric score, the 1 will always allow the Bigfootses or the creature to get away. Conversely, the 6 will always allow you to capture the Bigfootses or creature, even if your roll wouldn't normally be able to do so. So I roll, and I did get the 6, lucky me. So I take the albino Bigfoot, and I put it in here with my other Bigfoot in my corral, and now I have a total of 3 victory points. 1 for the normal Bigfoot, and 2 for the albino. Okay, we're going to go ahead and take another turn, and I'm going to explore into the woods. And this card is the Alien Abduction card. And this says if I roll bad luck, the aliens will abduct away one of my Bigfoot. And if I roll good luck, then they will take pity on me and give me one of theirs. So that's nice that they have a good collection of Bigfoot and can share them. What I have in my corral is I have 2 Bigfootses right now. I have one with a total of 2 victory points and one with 1. So I have a total of 3 victory points. When you roll for good luck or bad luck, if you roll equal to or over the number of victory points you have in your corral, you get good luck. And if you roll under that number, then you get bad luck. So since I have 3 victory points in there, I need to roll a 3 or higher to get good luck. And unfortunately, I've rolled a 1. So they will take one of my Bigfoots and beam him up into their ship and discard it in the discard pile. Okay, I'm going to take another turn here. In this case, I've encountered just a normal, everyday, average looking Bigfoot. He has an evasiveness of 3. My skill is +2 for the hunter, +1 for the net, and +1 for the Bigfootses in my corral, so that gives me a 4. So right now, as long as I do not roll a 1, I'm going to capture this Bigfoot's. My opponent in this case is going to play a modifier on him. Modifiers are played on the Bigfootses or the creatures and give them a plus or minus. The modifier that he's playing is the Mother of All, which has a +5. So he's going to play this on the Bigfoot and make it the Mother of All Bigfoot, which with the +5 and a 3 will now make it an 8. So since I am rolling against a skill of 4, I'm going to need to roll a 4 or more to be able to capture the Bigfootses. So I roll and I get a 3. That means I did not capture the Bigfootses. That means he's going to get away. No modifiers can be played after the die is rolled, but items can be. So I have an item in my card here, which is the Bigfootses urine, which means I can spray myself with Bigfootses urine and mask my scent and get a +3 to my skill for the capture. So I'm going to play that item card, and now instead of having a 7, I have a 10. So the 10 is definitely going to beat the 8, and I am going to capture the Bigfoot. But my opponent still does not want me to capture it. So he's going to play this card, the Oh No You Didn't, which is kind of like a counter card, a counter spell. It can negate any card that is played, any just played card, be it an equipment item or action card. So he's going to play that on my item, which means that those 2 cards go to the discard pile, which means my skill goes back to 7, which is no longer good enough to capture the Bigfoots. So he does indeed get away, and well played.